The following is a YouTube-based audio production, brought to you by J.E. Realize. You know how it feels to break consistency by changing the order up a bit to give one entry more airtime? Or something like that? That was worded weird. So I decided to break tradition by releasing 10 shows I rarely watched 4 before 10 shows I wanted to watch 4, but that was when I thought I had more of this content than that content. I was kinda misled. Sure, I got 10 eventually, but it took me a while. So don't blame me for the lack of quality in this video. I did my best. Wait, these are already low quality as it is, why should I apologize? Anyway, let's start before I start questioning myself. You won't like it when I question myself. Monty Python's Flying Circus. Wait, you'd say, that series is older than your mom. How do you mean you rarely watched it? First, to quote Mitch Sorenstein, no one talks about my mom like that. Second, everyone has heard of the series at this point, so I had to take a look. Of course, there's a bit of a barrier to entry, part of it being British and part of it being dated, but I did manage to watch a few episodes as well as a few more clips. And to be honest, I would like to binge this series. Everyone knows about stuff like Spam and the Spanish Inquisition, but I'd like to see what hidden gems this show has. Storage Wars. The next 2 entries are going to sound stupid. Oh well, I mean yes, people will make TV shows about anything to appeal to anyone, but this concept is not bad. Buying out abandoned storage lockers and flipping the contents seem as exciting to me as flipping houses, but with less upfront investment. I caught a few episodes of this from stopping by my parents' bedroom when they asked me of something. My parents' house does not have a basement. That is an urban myth. Though it would be cool to have one. The one thing I wish this show had, considering it's usually the same characters every episode of a given season, is for a season-long tally that gets updated at the end of every episode. That would get me actually invested in binging this series. And that's why I don't watch Deadliest Catch. Too soon? Pawn Stars. Does it belong on the History Channel? At this point, I think it skirts the line, so I'll put this in the you can argue among yourselves pile. It's not a dedicated history show, sure. In fact, it's more like you learn stuff through the program by coincidence. And that's not the sole purpose of the show, but hey, it's kind of fun given the family dynamic. And of course, casual learning of history as this program does it is fine by me. Like the previous entry, I mostly caught it in glances from visiting my parents, and I find it just fine for just putting on in the background. There's just one thing about this show that rubs me the wrong way, though. You have a camera crew hanging around a real place that people could visit in the middle of Las Vegas, assuming it's not closed due to state order, recording for an ongoing series. How many of those people are going to show up just to try to be on television? Sure, it gets you unique products, but it must be a logistical headache. Adam ruins everything. I was interested in this show when I was introduced to it in Fresno State. You got this guy that comes in and ruins everything people think they know about, insert subject here, by correcting them every episode. The 2 episodes I watched, ironically, were lying to each other by continuity. The first I watched talked about how the DARE program was flawed, and one of the characters was arrested and jailed, which led to the next episode talking about the American prison system. Hey, I'm a fan of knowledge, and a dose of fun with my learning is no problem, so one day I'd like to get to watch that show. If I can figure out which satellite package has True TV. The Money List. Let's get into game shows again. The plot? You compete against an opponent to fill out a list of objects that fit a certain category to get to the final list and win some money. Not a bad concept, I could do that. This is one of the handful of game shows that I feel confident into going into. I only caught a few episodes of this show when we had the GSN trial, but bonus, I also saw the UK version, while waiting for Eurovision to start. Awkward. I survived a Japanese game show. This is one of those shows where I felt like the creators stole a concept from The Simpsons, but I'll get into the Loud House later. The show's premise is simple. Americans compete in Japan on a Japanese game show. Not the worst idea. I only seemed to catch the last episodes of 1 season, and it was decent, but this sort of stuff is past its time, and even if it's not, I'm not going in without some basic knowledge of the Japanese language. Bonsai! Let's throw in another Japanese-American weird combo flavor in here. I completely forgot what the purpose of this show is. Maybe it's a game show? I only watched the few episodes that came out on Fox, but apparently this is a British import. I did not expect that. And only a few episodes came over to the US before Fox decided enough. Woof! From what I remember, it at least got my attention through and through. Chrono Crusade. I think that's what it's called. Let's go back to New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2007. A time where I was actually hyped for the new year, instead of barely paying attention to it and looking for a West Coast alternative to the Times Square ball drop. Damn New Yorkers. Around 8 p.m.-ish, I found this one channel airing what seemed to be a marathon of 12 or so episodes of this one anime. How I managed to watch this program just randomly with an English language dub at the age of 13 seems crazy, especially since there were a few, let's say, graphic scenes. Maybe I'd consider going back to it just because I'm twice the age I used to be and I missed a lot of stuff as a kid. Extreme Engineering. I meant to put this in a past list since I watched most of the episodes on Season 1. There are a lot more seasons that came out without me knowing, so now it's on the rarely watched list. Damn technicalities. But I had my fun with it. Though I only got to watch it in Spanish because that was the nature of my satellite TV plan back in the 2000s. The series covered many massive new projects proposed or under construction that would require groundbreaking effort to achieve. You heard about the Bering Strait Bridge idea? It's covered here. How about a kilometer-high residential building in the middle of Tokyo? It's covered here. Are you from Boston and want to remember how it felt when I-93 was above ground? This show has you covered. However, from what I researched, the series scaled back their ambitions from Season 2 onward. What a shame. I guess it's good I pulled out when I did. I wanted to learn more about grandiose projects, but I guess another show would have to pick this up from here because this show has let itself go. Masterminds. Apparently there are a few shows called this, so let me elaborate. We're talking the one where people try to steal, forge, and scam their way into getting huge sums of cash. Blue collar, white collar, whatever it is. These are documentaries on real-life cases with real-life people, with all of them, as far as I know, getting found out and tried for their crimes. I only watched 2 episodes in one sitting at a relative's house. One of them involved the subject in question forging a horse race derby betting slip and trying for months to cash it in. Of course, the ones in charge of the derby found out it was a forgery, and he served time. This seems like an exciting show, but to be fair, they're all foregone conclusions. Not that I expect some sort of conspiracy theory whodunit racket, but if you're there to see people get away with it, well, tough. And shame on you for cheering on the bad guys. There we go. There must have been a reason for me to release this first, so do the feedback thing. Like, comment, subscribe, or dislike. I am not going to retcon this into being 10 shows 11 instead of 10 shows 10, just so you know. Follow me on Twitter at JERealize. This has been JERealize. I'll see you next time, and there will be a next time. This concludes our YouTube-based audio production. I hope you enjoy, and I wish you farewell.